Ahoy everyone, it is Jeff aka God the Scammer. I'm out in the quiet room in the pub at the moment having a beer. I felt I needed to give a little bit of an update on the video I posted a couple of days ago regarding my invitation to John Richards. First of all, John, I should just say, John has declined to come on my channel and answer questions, which I don't hold that against him. That's his prerogative. He's under no obligation to do so. I would have loved to ask the guy some questions about his role with AAI and so on, but that's his choice, and I can't fault it for him for that. Also, there's been some information that's come out in the last couple of days, which I think I need to correct the record on myself as well. The reason I wanted to ask the questions was that there was evidence that had come to light from a report AAI had put into things they'd submitted to the California Attorney General, suggesting that John had received payments of around $10,000 from the organisation. Now, it's come to light. Now, I will say I got this information from Johm Hamill, and Johm Hamill as well. I'm not throwing Johm Hamill under the bus, just to be clear here. The questions were being asked on this basis, and this was stuff that was sent to the AAI. Actually, did send. We have evidence now that it was not $10,000. It was around $6,500, maybe less. But it was considerably less than $10,000. So, in terms of the figures, John Richards did provide evidence that this wasn't that he was not paid that much, and so I basically am seconding the other Johm Hamill, who also himself has made an apology to John Richards over this, and I shall follow suit and also make a public apology to John Richards over this. And I feel, as I called him out on YouTube, I should probably do that on my YouTube channel. And I will, whenever I get round to uploading this, I will link Johm Hamill's article and response in the description. That being said, I don't feel that this is a total. Despite the way what John Richards may believe, I do not believe this is a complete vindication of him or his time here, or his time editing AAI's magazine. And here's why. The issue in question here was over the editorship of the Secular World magazine, which was AAI's sort of quarterly journal. And the previous gentleman, who was a guy named Rustam, I don't know Rustam, haven't spoken to him ever, but he was employed by the organisation to produce this, and I believe other stuff or so on for the organisation, and was given a financial remuneration for his work, understandably. I still have an issue with the fact that I have heard John on previous videos and previous statements say that his issue was the amount of money that was being paid to this guy, and actually he said the words, quote, that's a fortune in India because Rustam's from India, and then they let this guy go, and John takes on the thing for the same contract for around a year. Now he claims he did the editorship free after that, and I think possibly he did. He probably did. I don't have any evidence to the contrary to say he didn't. I still begs the question though that if John, I'm going to ignore the whole. I'm going to let the whole John Richards. This is. I'm sorry. Too many Johns here. I'm going to ignore the whole "that's a fortune in India for someone in India" comment. Okay, I have thoughts on that, but I won't get into that. But if your issue was, if one of the things you stated that you objected to on this was the amount of money being paid, why did you immediately not take on the role for free or for considerably less money? That's one thing. So I do have some issue. I still have reservations around the ethics of this. If you see what I'm saying, I'm putting this as politely as I can. I have reservations about the ethics of that. If the and since that time, the line has changed, and in last year since John Richards stated this stuff publicly, that the issue was the amount Rustam was being paid. Now the line seems to be from you, John, that the reason was that Rustam wasn't doing his job correctly or something. That's a new thing for me. So again, I'll reiterate to you, John. I know you've declined. You probably don't, and you'll probably still will decline. But you are still welcome to come on and clarify that with me. I'd like you to do that, and I'll hear you out on it. Also, it begs some questions. This begs some questions to me, though. That if AAI, what is going on with AAI's reporting to the California Attorney General here, with money that's gone out, and it's something's not. And given the track record of AAI in this, something's, I don't know, just something don't feel right here. And again, another one of the questions I'd have loved to ask John Richards is why because it sounds to me like they've kind of thrown you under a bus in a way here. They're saying that you took money that you didn't. I'm not quite certain why you're still defending them, honestly. And yeah, and I just want to sum up with something that was brought up on this, because I will explain that this was a big Twitter feud that was going back over the past week or so, and there seems to be a line that people like myself, other atheists, we shouldn't be criticizing atheist activists because they're doing this wonderful work and they're saving lives and so on. I do not accept that line. I reject that line. I reject that mode of thinking altogether, because the people who are in these atheist organizations, if we're looking at atheism as a movement, or getting our voice put out and represented, I feel very strongly that if there are things that I see with people in who are atheist activists who are kind of leaders in their own right, have become leaders or so, that don't if we don't call out things, when we see things that are wrong, if we if we don't hold people to account, we don't ask questions, and if we take the line that we should ignore shit that is going on our own side because the real enemy is fundamentalist religion and it's out there hurting us. If we ignore that stuff, I do not see atheist activism as being any fucking, or, you know, atheist activism as being any better than religion in that respect if we're not prepared to call out our fucking leaders and hold them to account. So that's something where myself and John Richards, I think, have a fundamental disagreement on this. And I want to explain, this is why I have spent so much time saying stuff publicly about well-known atheists, or so on. Why I've called out people like David Silverman, Matt Dillahunty, Aaron Ra on a couple of things. Why I have repeatedly called out AAI. I'll say something. I called out Michael Sherlock on something I had a disagreement with him recently. And I will say Michael Sherlock was actually very gracious about it, and was actually very gracious about it. Even though he didn't agree with my criticism, he was very fair to me, and felt that I guess he didn't throw me. He felt I was being fair with him, I guess, even if he didn't agree with me. So I'll give Michael. So I'll say Michael went up a little bit in my estimation for that, even if I have some disagreements with him. The fact that he took that on the chin and wasn't an arsehole about it, he went up a little bit in my estimation for that. But that's kind of why I do a lot of the stuff I do. I didn't intend to be like the little atheist content creator that goes after other atheists. That was never my plan for doing this when I even started doing atheist content. I'd like to spend time going on. I'd like to spend more time going after the bloody apologists and stuff than I do. But when I see stuff from my own camp, which I think is really wrong and really needs addressing, it's that old saying of get your own house in order before going after others, sort of thing. So that's it to sum up. I still have questions. I still have questions regarding this stuff with John Richards, and I will reiterate, if John Richards is willing to change his mind and come on and talk to me. The invite's there. I don't expect him to do so, and that's his prerogative. He's under no obligations, and that's that. I still have issues with the narrative, but I will accept that he he didn't take as much money from the organisation as I myself and one or two others accused him of. So I will set the record straight on that. But yeah, this is. But look again, sum up. Yeah, that's why I do what I do. Um, and I'd like to be in a position where I don't have to do it anymore. Okay, Jeff, aka Godless Scummer. See you later. Salute.